Welcome back, everybody. My name is Jeff Dixon. This is part 6 of the Complete Beginner's Guide to Fishing. Now, part 6 is about how to cast a fishing reel, specifically in this case, a spinning reel. But it occurred to me that some of you may be learning how to fish so that you can take your kids fishing, and so you might need to learn how to cast a kid's fishing rod too. So I'm going to show you that so that you can show your kids. And there's a lot of different ways to cast a fishing rod, but I'm going to show you 3 basic techniques that anybody can learn to use, and you can use them pretty much anywhere. So we're going to start with the kids fishing rod first. This is my daughter's fishing rod. It's the same as any other kids fishing rod. These are called spincaster reels, and they're just a bit easier for kids to use. All it is a push button to release the line, and then a reel that locks the line in. So I'm going to show you how to work the reel first. If you can see here, there's my little jig. All you do is push this button, and that releases the spool, and then when you let go, it lets line out. And then to stop the line, you just turn the reel once, and that'll lock the reel into where it is. I'll show you again. You just push this button, and then when you release, it's going to start letting line out, and then to stop it, you just turn the reel again. It's real easy. You can use any of the techniques to cast these that I'm going to show you with the spinning reels. So this is a spinning reel with the rod. There's a few basic components you need to learn how to use. The first one is the bail. This part here is the bail, and if that's closed, no line's going to come out. So right now it's in the closed position. This is the open position. Closed, open.
It occurred to me while I was editing this video that I forgot to talk about one of the most important parts of your spinning reel, and that is this little dial right here. This is your drag dial. So when you turn this one way, it loosens up your drag and makes it a lot easier for the line to come out. And then when you tighten it up, it makes it a lot harder for the drag to come out. And this is important because if you hook into a big fish and you have some lighter line and you have your drag cranked all the way down, that fish is just going to break your line. So the whole point of drag is so that it lets the line out under tension, so that if you're fighting a fish and they make a big fast run, or if they just turn around and jolt in one way really fast, it'll actually allow a line to be pulled off your reel without the line snapping. What it also does is when you're fighting a fish, it lets the line out under tension like I mentioned, which makes it a little bit more difficult for the fish to run, and it can sometimes tire them out and allow you to reel them in a little bit easier.
The way you want to hold these reels is not like this. If you have a spinning reel and it's upside down like that, you're holding it wrong. Spinning reels are meant to hang down below the rod, and all you do is you take your hands like this, and you can grip it around the reel seat, but you can do it anyways. You can do your index finger and your middle finger. That's those two are probably the most common ones. You don't want to hold a spinning rod like this because it doesn't give you any leverage if you actually have to fight a fish. So you want to hold it like this. It also puts your hand in the optimal position to take the line, which is the next part of the cast. So when you're getting ready to cast your line, you're going to grip the line here with your finger. That's why I like to hold it between my pinky finger and my ring finger. But like I said, any of those will be fine. But my pinky finger and my ring finger gives you the optimal position to hold your line. You're going to grab your line like that with your index finger. You open your bail with your other hand, and then you can make your cast. And then you don't just start reeling. You always want to close the bail with your hand before you start reeling. You could start reeling and the bail will auto close like this, but you don't want to do that too much because doing that over and over again could actually cause damage to your reel and premature wear, which you don't want. So the first of 3 different types of techniques I'm going to show you, just super basic. The first one is called the overhand cast. So you're going to hold your rod the way I taught you. You hold your line, open your bail, you bring the rod behind you, and then cast it out right in front of you, going over your head like that. That's the most common way to cast a fishing rod, and it's the one that will typically get you the most distance. There's a couple things to note though. So when I'm just going to bring this down here so I'm not flicking line everywhere. When you're getting ready to cast, you open your bail, you're gripping your line, you're bringing it behind you. You don't want to release the line too early or too soon, because if you release it too early, your line is going to peel out behind you while you're trying to cast it out. If you release it too late, your line is going to flick into the water right in front of you. So there's kind of like an area, like a sweet spot in your cast that you want to release your line. It's usually, if you think about a clock face like this, right? It's usually at about the 10 to 2, right? Almost at the apex of the cast. You're doing your cast, overhand cast like this. Between here and here is where you typically want to let your line loose. I'll demonstrate. I'll do it real slow. Just like that. Super easy. One other thing I want to mention before you make your cast is how much line you should have out when you're making your cast. You don't want to have too much out because then you won't be able to make a good cast and you'll just have line flip-flopping all over the place. If you don't have enough line out, a little bit different because I got a drop shot on, but if your lure is right at the tip, then you're going to have problems even just opening your bail, and then you're still not going to be able to make a very good cast. So you want to have somewhere between 8 and 10 inches of line out from the end of your line. That's enough to make a really good cast and get all the way out there. So that's your basic overhand cast. You won't always be able to use your overhand cast, however, because you might be fishing around a bunch of trees or power lines that are above you, like I am today. These power lines are right above me, and you can see over there. There's one of people that casted too high and got tangled up in the power lines. So the side cast is exactly the same as the overhand cast, but instead of going over your head, you're just going from the side. Same principles apply to when you release your line, not too early, not too late, right at that sweet spot, kind of around the apex of your cast. Just like this. You can still get a sizable distance, but you're not worried about tangling in anything that might be over your head. Try it again. Just like that. So that's the side cast. The last one is called pitching. Pitching is really easy. It trips people up a lot, but it's actually not that hard to do, and you can do it with any type of reel, bait caster, spin caster, or spinning reel. All you do is you let out enough line so that you can grab your hook or your weight, whatever, at the bottom. You open your bail, and instead of casting from the side or over your head, you're going to lower your rod tip like this, and then you let the weight swing out, and then you let go of the line or release the line right when the weight is on its way out, and that'll pull line off your reel, just like this. Easy peasy. That's a good technique to use if you're trying not to make a big splash, or if you've got a lot of bush to your side and above your head and you don't have room to make an overhead or a side cast. You can still get your line out there with a quick and easy pitch of your lure, like this. If you want to get a little more distance, all you have to do is just, as you're releasing your line, raise your rod tip up a little bit. That'll angle out your lure and you'll get a little bit more distance. And it also won't make as big of a splash. So if there's any fish exactly where your lure is landing, you might not spook them away. So that's how easy it is to cast a spinning rod and reel or a kid's spin caster. A lot of kids' spin casters will actually come with like a rubber weight at the end you can tie on, and that lets them practice without having a hook on there or something they could potentially hook themselves or something around your house with, like a dog or a cat or a person. You might have to practice a little bit to get it right. Like everything, the more you do it, the better you get at it. But if you don't have any water easily accessible and you want to still practice, you can take the hooks off your line and just tie on a little weight, and then you can go in your backyard or like your living room or somewhere where there's carpet. You can practice pitching a little weight or casting a little weight somewhere out in a park or wherever you have access to outside that you're not going to break something with your cast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part.